Right, another Chalford Clinic TV. You can tell that I'm with Martin, who's obviously our good friend here at Wexham. We're down at Wexham Golf Club today. So we're going to be doing a little bit on biomechanics. We're going to be talking a bit about warm-ups, golfing problems, all sorts. So Martin, where are we, mate?
Where are we?
It looks a bit fancy.
This is my home this week. So hi guys, welcome to Wexham Park Golf Centre. This is our, if you didn't know it, our new little studio that we've got. It's basically a teaching studio. It's also a club fitting studio. So it's a bit like our workshop as opposed to your workshop. So we've got everything in the corner over there from kids clubs. So very important, as we discussed last time, to get the right size clubs. You're probably looking at all a minefield of clubs and heads and data on the board.
It's like heaven
for you.
It's like heaven.
But for the poor people at home, they're thinking, uh-oh, what does it all mean? Yeah, so that's why, if you want to come down, guys, we can obviously do lessons in here. We're going to talk a few things with Ben, obviously, today, but we also have fitting days. We've got some fitting days on the horizon with Ping. We've got also Yonex coming down. We've also got our friends from Cobra coming down in the next month or so. So do come down, and we'll explain more. It's education. That's what this is all about. Yeah. So 100%. I think the greatest thing that we can start with today, we've just lost the snow. There's a lot of people on the driving range. What do people not do when they come to the driving range?
Oh, first thing, obvious thing, just when everyone comes to the driving range, whenever they go to the 18 holes, they don't warm up. Classic problem. No one warms up. Everyone gets 9 holes into the round and they are stiffening up. They're getting sore, they're getting achy, they're not in the right frame of mind for it. And it's purely and simply, either for me, one of two things. So for me as a warm up, I do I said to you earlier, I do a bit of putting, but realistically for me that's not a warm-up, that's a bit of practice. So warm-up for me comes down to two things. It comes down to mobility and range of motion, and it comes down to tempo. So explain what tempo is, because you'll explain this better than I will.
Tempo, it's a measurement between how long it takes the club to go back and then return to the ball. But if you look at it in a holistic point of view, what it is basically smoothness.
Yeah.
It's not trying to thrash at the ball, because one of the things that we're all about is trying not to get injured, and you can easily get injured, as you know, when muscles are not loose and your muscles are not warm. So
the one thing you notice all the time, first tee, you're faced with a long par 4 and you're thinking, right, I've got to get the big boy out, and every time all you want to do is smack the white off the ball.
Well, worse than that, people come to the range armed with one club.
Yeah.
It's the big one.
Yeah.
That's all they want to hit.
Well, it's because it's the one we always get wrong. Realistically, I mean.
So I'm going to learn something here. Come on, show us.
Right.
What you do. I'm really interested.
Okay. So for me, my warm-up is going to consist of, normally I'll take a 9-iron, but to be honest, it could be anything, because all I'm going to do is literally just hold it across my chest.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm going to do is literally just set my feet slightly wider, shoulder width apart. Now it's the pivot. The pivot for me is the most important bit, because what I'm looking to do, and actually the benefit here is you can talk about your mirror that you've got on the back, and I find it great, because what I'm looking for is every time I hip hinge, I'm looking to have a neutral spine. Now, there's a big misconception with neutral spine. A lot of people misconceive or misunderstand neutral spine to be flat or a straight back. That's not neutral. The lower back is designed to have a curve in the lower part of it.
Okay.
Right. So it's designed to have that curve. So if I was to put my hand in the lower part of my back, you can see that I've got a nice curved position. Right.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I've got the arse for this, so it's quite useful to be able to use me as a model. Right. But from there, all I'm looking to do is literally just get mobility. Start small, and then.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Take it higher.
So what are you warming up there? Which parts of the body?
Okay. So what I'm warming up is trunk.
Yeah.
So trunk stability, which is going to be everything from front, back, sides. Okay. Everything from diaphragm downwards. That's where my movement, my power comes from. Okay. Then when you start to increase it, you're coming up, and then you can really just drive through. Okay. And that's where you're looking at your hips. Okay. Now I always go up and then up the other way. Now I don't know if that's right, but from my perspective, golf is one-dimensional because you're always hitting the same way. I'll never play left-handed. Okay. So for me, I very rarely use the mobility through the left hip as much as I do the right. Okay, as I'm coming through. So for me, it's important to encourage both. Okay, I want to try and use mobility, mostly from an exercise perspective. Okay, is that right or wrong?
Yeah. Well, what's great is lots of things are moving.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what we'll show everybody now is a slightly more appropriate movement, very similar to what you were doing,
Yep.
which really helps you. So if you want to just face the camera, Ben, you probably feel a little bit easier. So let's just put a ball down here. So
Yep.
if you put the club across your arm,
Okay.
across your chest, sorry, like you were. And guys, this is something you can do at home. And what I would probably recommend is we're going to look at the structure first, because the structure is the key. If you get the right foundations, you're in business. So from this side, you can see what we've got is Ben's nice and tall, feet maybe a tad wide, so perhaps bring them in shoulder width apart.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're just going to try and tilt forward from the spine. Okay. But as
From the spine or from the pelvis?
So on the pelvis, thank
Okay.
you. You can correct me. But the key thing is the straightness of the back. And then in this position, if you can just put that on your top of your chest there and then cross your arms, lean forward so you can hit the ball. Okay, and I'm going to put the club here, like that.
Yep.
Okay. Now what I'd love you to do is make a turn where that club head points towards the ball. Just do it gently. Fantastic. Okay. So you can see there, folks, what's happened. He's got a slight tilt on his shoulders. His weight is loaded up on the right side here, and that's pointing down towards the golf ball. How do you feel?
Comfortable?
Comfortable, stable,
Yep.
great, but also you probably feel that you've got quite a lot of torque going on there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we're discussing. Everyone loves to hit the ball further. So if you create the torque, that's how you do it. And then as you drive through, keep your head steady on the ball, release the hips as you said. That tries to find the ball there, and then there's a signal for your head to come up and you're finishing the swing there. So you've got that nice there. And I guess that's what's going to protect your back, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke about it last time, always be wary of the injured golfer. It's because they're compact, they're solid, but then they know that they go any further outside their normal range or pain-free range, it's going to be painful. So for us, it's trying to get them to, well, from my perspective as a chiropractor, it's trying to get them to develop that movement so it's not painful. I'm trying to give them more freedom, more mobility through the swing. That's what I do in my treatment. When they come to the range, it's all about them trying to stabilise it.
And I would really like this from a golfing point of view. So if you go again, what most people do is they go too flat here, and then they're up, looking up and away from the shot. So the whole of the structure's gone, and you could end up in this position here, which is what we describe as a reverse C position. And you can tell everyone what damage that might cause.
It's hyperextension. It basically just compresses everything.
So that is another reason, team, for having the clubs fitted properly. So as a fitter, myself, when I fit clubs, the key thing that I'm fitting for is posture. So the reverse of what Ben would look like is I'd just be in this nice position here where I'm hanging. So my back is nice and straight, my arms are hanging. So just do that one more time.
Okay.
And you can do this, and it might feel slightly different, but as you go back, that goes down towards the ball. Knees stays nice and soft, and then as you drive through, you try and look at the ball for a split second longer, and then you come out.
Okay.
Just do that a few times and tell everyone what that feels like. Very good.
So obviously that, for me, is more controlled
Good.
than what I would do.
And
But
you
that's
see,
not necessarily a bad thing.
but you can see, everyone, the movement is creating that torque and that twist. That's going to give the power, and the head is acting a bit like that sort of centering point. So it's all working around the head position. And I think what I like about this drill is that the club here comes down and through the golf ball, which is really important. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So that would be something that I would really advocate as a simple warming up exercise that we can do.
Yeah.
And as I say, we're very close working with our friends over the road at Nuffield Health, and if you need to go over there and use their facilities, they've got some fantastic facilities. Lots of machines, lots of PTs that will help you to do a body program that will be absolutely right for you, because I'm a huge fan as a coach. You can only do what your body allows you to do. So we all have injury. I quite like teaching injured golfers because I would never try and reinvent the wheel. You can only work with what they can do. It's real lot of fun, as we discussed in the last session we did. Okay, so you gonna hit some?
Yeah, I think so. Well, we're going to try to, at least.
Well, you're nice and warm.
Well, I hope so. We're getting there.
And what was I think quite interesting is, what club would you go and use first up? You said which one?
At the range?
Yeah.
So
you've done a little bit of warm up. What would you hit?
I'd always warm up. I'd always do my rotation stuff
Yeah.
at 9-9 because I like the length of it.
And then when you go and hit balls, what club would you use?
Always start with a 7.
You start with a 7.
I always start
Okay.
with a 7 normally.
All right. So lots of schools of thought. Some people, like me, a bit of a fan of working with a 9-9 and go up through the clubs that way. Mr. Woods, since he's come back from his back problems, has been using a driver. Why do you think that would be? Why would he suddenly hit a driver? I'm quite curious.
My only logical train of thought would be from a biomechanic perspective. It's obviously longer. Okay, your range of motion is obviously going to be is also going to be wider. Okay, so you're going to create a bigger arc. In theory, you're going to create a bigger arc using a driver, but it's also weighted heavier towards the end. So it kind of leans into more that tempo and that weight distribution of knowing the hardest club to hit, and then everything else should be easy.
And the big thing with Tiger, folks, obviously he came back from literally from the like he could never play again.
From the depths of nowhere.
It's incredible. He couldn't even walk a year ago, and he ended up winning the Tour Championship. And that's something that we heard on the grapevine, that he was actually using that. So it's really good to get your perspective.
Yeah.
But you do your thing.
Right. Let me get the 7 out.
Yeah.
After 9. On the 9. Okay. So,
if anyone's got any questions that come in online, feel free to ask, and we'll do our best to solve them.
So obviously this is the bit that I obviously gained a lot from you when I started sort of playing golf, is that when I dislocated that finger sort of when I was playing football, it was actually really uncomfortable for me to interlock.
Yeah, you said that.
So my general take is a baseball grip.
Good.
So for me it's just about keeping it comfortable, because golf in any form should not be painful from my perspective.
Okay. Just have a few shots, and I wouldn't worry too much about where it goes.
Is that a surefire way of saying it could have been better?
That's a good job. We probably can't see the end of it, but you're excused today because it's a bit chilly.
Excused.
And how does that actually feel? You can maybe pick up the sound on the TV.
Yeah.
How is that feeling to you?
At the minute, still a bit thin.
Yep.
So not really contacting an awful lot of the ball, kind of just clipping the top of it.
Okay. So,
but from a biomechanical perspective, I feel loose, I feel mobile.
Yeah. Well, if we just look there, folks, from a Ben's quite happy in terms of his range of movement. Let's just quickly give you guys a bit of a checkpoint Charlie situation. We talked about the grip. If you want to just face the camera.
Yep.
So Ben adopts the baseball grip.
Not necessarily the right grip, but it's a grip.
There are a couple of alternatives which you can quickly run through, but the key things in the grip, just get your right hand away, show that it's on the left hand. In here, we want that left hand on the top with a V shape between the thumb and the index finger pointing at the shoulders. Okay, and we often say that look, the check is 2 knuckles, which you've got, it's great. Put the right hand on. Okay, and that thumb should come down there with a V once again pointing over here. Now this is where the fun starts a little bit, because that sometimes feels a little bit strange to people. So we want to try and, with the iron here, feel that the left arm is comfortably straight. So I would just take a bit of tension out of there and a little bit of tension out of there. Okay, so just a bit softer. All right, and if we hit another ball now, just by working on that, I think the contact might feel a little bit different. So why don't you try another ball, just with that slight release of the pressure.
See, now this is where I won't be able to change the grip to go back to it. I've got to keep it as it was.
Oh no, you
as you corrected me.
And guys, changing something is very difficult. That's why I've got a job, all right? It's not the quickest thing to change. It's like when you go and see Ben for your treatments, it's a process. It's not something that's we're not going to wave a magic wand sometimes and it works. Okay, a little bit quick. And
a bit tinny.
A little bit tinny. So Ben's getting used to that little feel on the grip of being a bit softer. His aim of the club is great. His toe line, his structures, his alignment, really, really good.
I think that's something. I didn't start playing until I was 23.
Yeah.
But obviously having the biomechanics, the understanding of how things work, I think it's kind of helped me get better quicker. But obviously it's now the consistency. It's the well.
That's a much better sound, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much better sound.
For me, it's it's everything that goes along with it. It's not as simple as just stepping up to the ball and striking a ball. It's not just it's not like that. It needs to be a pattern to it. It needs to be a routine.
And as a coach, I absolutely love that, because we learn differently.
Yeah.
Some of us learn by pure experience of doing it. Some of us like using cameras. Some of us like using sort of the data things that are available. So we have this little thing over here that we've got, which is really, really cool. So it's a Sky Track, and you can buy these yourselves, or we can come and have a session in here. It'll give you some data, which will probably have another session on and spend some time
Yeah.
doing that. But I think the most important thing from a coaching point of view is that whenever I'm coaching, I put it into your language. So if I was coaching you, I would probably go quite heavily into the mechanical stuff, a lot of auditory stuff. So listening, talking, like we do. So we're sharing ideas. Would that be your preferred learning way, or a bit of everything?
I learn a lot more from. I'm a practical learner.
Yep.
Okay, so I got nothing at school, university from sitting there and reading books. I got it from doing stuff. So for me, I need to be able to. I mean, if the best guide you could use for me is to show me a video of someone doing it the right way. The problem is nowadays there is no right way. So it's finding someone who always matches the same style. So if you found a pro that's got the same sort of style as I do, and said, look, this is what you're not doing right, got me to watch it, and then try and repeat it.
And that's a really good point. So I would get people to find a player that they particularly like, and what I would focus on is their sort of build. If you're tall, pick a tall guy.
Yeah.
If you're small, pick a smaller person. But the great thing with the tour now, when you watch on the TV, there's some absolute weird and wonderful swings, and a new one came out this week. A fella called Matt Wolf.
Yep. Wolfie.
Who just swings it like
it wasn't
you've
that.
never seen. It makes Jim Furyk look like sort of remotely normal.
The swing was fine. It was more the
and he was getting the ball out there amazing distances. But he's probably done that since he was this height, so it's what's natural to him.
Yeah.
And what I would do with your good self is just to focus on this routine. So if I just come in and I'll just quickly just show you. What we teach a lot with the kids here is we try and get them to sort of come behind the ball here, have a little practice swing, and then the things we focus on: aim. So obviously you need to point the club at where you want to go. Hold, stand. Okay. So I think everything that you've got is really strong.
Yeah.
There's one little tiny thing that you couldn't quite see from there, but your ball is quite a long way back in your stance. Okay, and I would just like to see that ball with the 7-iron. My personal preference is to have it just to the left of centre, and if you set up here, you can see that what I've created is that angle of a little shaft link there. So my left hand is in front, so as I'm coming into the ball, I'm going to compress that ball, hit the back of the ball, and let it continue on there. All right? So a routine can be many ways. Some people like to do it from coming in from behind the golf ball so they can see what's in front. Some people prefer to do it like Bernard Langer has done for 30 odd years, just doing it this way, where they stand side on and then build it that way. Be individual. That's the great thing. There's a template you can work around, but don't be scared to be individual.
Yeah, understand.
So my little view on your setup is really, really good. I just like to see your ball position a little bit closer to your left foot. Why don't you have a go?
Okay. See
if that helps with the contact of the shot. So you're there, and then your hands are just a little bit ahead of the ball. That might feel quite weird.
Okay. It's no more than what I would do for a pitching wedge or a 9-iron or an 8. I would just normally probably position the ball a little bit more central for a 7, but
not bad.
A bit thin still.
Yeah.
No, not a lot of compression. But it's the reason I put up 15 and not 5.
Mm-hmm. Contact was good there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit leaky, but better contact. Much better contact. So it's just the interesting thing is obviously compressing the ball, and obviously I'm getting to the stage now where I'm trying to change an awful lot throughout my swing.
Okay.
Especially trying to teach myself how to draw, how to fade balls, which is kind of turning the ball one way or the other. But from my perspective, it's just trying to teach myself how to do that, which is difficult. But I think it's getting.
Absolutely, and I think that the overriding thing for everyone at home is anything that we're doing today. The most important thing when you come down, especially on a day like that, have some fun. You know, don't just walk up there and self-flagellate if you hit a bad shot. We often use psychology a lot with people we teach. We give them little games to play. You know, can you hit the 50-yard sign? Can you hit the green? Can you hit any of the targets? Top golf, as we discussed last time, is a huge thing, where you get that sort of feel-good factor if you've actually achieved something. And I think, you know, the most important thing is that whatever you do when you come down here, have a little bit of a plan. You're working on changing something. That's great. And to get back to Tiger, I mean, Tiger took a leaf out of the great Ben Hogan, And if ever you watch Tiger on the driving range, Hogan used to play the golf course on the driving range, and Woods goes to the range and no two shots are the same just before he's going to play. Now maybe when he's working after the event and sort of reflecting on his round of golf and working on a technical change, he will do a lot of repetitive stuff. But just before he goes out, he's hitting it hard.
For Joe average people, you know, your average golfers, your people who don't get time to have lessons, people who don't get time to see chiropractors. It's good that we do things like this because it's a help, it's a guide. You know, we're trying to make ourselves more visible from some perspective, but the visibility is to kind of help, direct, encourage, support. You know, that's what we're aiming to do. So if we can give someone a little bit of advice, help them encourage a little bit more of a warm up, it's going to prevent sort of so much in terms of injury from a biomechanical perspective, but for you guys as well, it's good to sort of teach them that routine.
100%, and that's why everyone, we haven't really gone into anything to do with the positions that Ben's put the club in today, because what we've just focused on is to one little bit. So it's likewise if you come and see me, I will only ever give you one or two things to focus on in any session. If you go and see Ben, as we said before, he's great because he will talk you through what he's going to do, and then he'll diagnose a treatment plan for you. And that's the great thing that we have in what we're about, is the transparency, because I think it's really, really important. I think I struggle when I get clients that come down and they want to do everything in one go.
Yeah.
Because the reality is you're not going to achieve much. But if you can take something away, so, you know, what's the one thing you could take away today from us just looking at your setup position?
Control for my warm up.
Control.
And the position I've set my 7 iron.
That's right. So we've probably looked at the ball position, and from a technical point of view, balls was back in Ben's stance, and the majority of his shots, you might not be able to pick up the camera, will end up right at target, and that's because the club didn't have the chance to square itself up. So you do a little bit of work on that. It will put slight less strain on your body. And it will fire up the right bits of your body just to get everything connecting. Because utopia in golf is when you get this connection of club, the body, everything working together, and of course it feels easy, and that is the sort of the drug of the game as to why we keep coming back.
100%. No,
brilliant.
good. No,
fabulous. Great to see you.
Well, actually, on that, I've got a quick announcement, because we were just about to. I've got an announcement about our charity golf day this year. So we are going back to the Buckinghamshire, which I know you know very well.
Yeah, we do.
So we're going to go back to the Buckinghamshire. We're going to do a full day, 27 holes, full English breakfast, fully cooked lunch, balls at the range for free, loads of stuff, prizes and goodie bags as well. So the official date for that this year is going to be the 2nd of May, which is a Thursday, which should be awesome. Hopefully the weather holds out and it's decent, and there's no snow. I'm hoping there's no snow in May, but we should have a great day. I mean, we've had a great day at various courses over the last couple of years. This one should be pretty awesome too. We've got some leaflets being made up, but if you're really interested, we'll include a link to the sign-up sheet for this video. And honestly, look forward to sort of seeing you there. And if you've got any problems or questions for either me or Martin, then please feel free to contact us, and don't hesitate. Cheers.
Thank you.